Welcome to this edition of Motor Trend. I'm Jim Scouten, and today it's our annual run for top speed, driving flat out at 3 times the legal limit. We've got the track and a green light, so hang on for pure speed as we find out who takes the title for 1998 in the ultimate sports car test.
Top speed.
How fast is fast? Well, you take the ride on the banking at 170 in the Corvette, or ride with Van Toon in the new Ferrari 355 F1.
There's 130, there's 135, there's 140, there's 145. We got one more gear, bang, into 6 gears, just like that. Up on the banking. Here we go. Hang on. This is the serious G.
The banking turns the car, and there's no reason to lift your foot.
Even at 175 miles an hour, you can hear that beautiful sound of that 5 barrel per cylinder V8 back behind me. This Ferrari's mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, of course, and it's nothing but power.
From the outside, the sound is incredible. This day at Ford's Arizona Proving Grounds has started early, first cleaning up our 8 exotics, while Ford technicians ran computer checks on the Panos Roadster's 305-horse Mustang Cobra 4-cam. But with that accomplished, it's photography first for the cover story.
Let's put you low on the apron, and we'll have the Aston up on the bank. The Corvette, the distance on the Corvette is good.
The DB7 is the other interest Ford has in this event since they bought Aston Martin. The DB7 brings 335 supercharged horses in its straight 6. And we've got the Lotus twin-turbo V8 making 350 horses. Plus the BMW M Roadster, the new hot one, but with the smallest engine of the group making 240 horses. And the first new Porsche 911 in the country, flown in from Germany with its water-cooled 296 horsepower flat 6. And last year's winner is back, the Viper, with 450 horses. The speeds will be recorded with both timing lights and radar gun. But right away it's clear the 2 Roadsters are not in this game. The BMW tops out at 139.7 miles per hour. The Panos with lower gearing and a top that won't stand the wind is done at 134. The Aston is slippery but needs a 6th gear. With 5, it tops out at 163.5. Now, the first surprise of the day from the Corvette. Last year, the Vette came up short of the factory's claimed top speed of 172. But not this year. This C5 winds to 173.9. The new 911 with 296 horses is so slippery that it runs within 4 miles per hour of last year's 911, the 400-horse twin-turbo. It's the second surprise at 174.8 miles per hour. And now, the Ferrari, winding to the red line in 6th.
Holy cow. Got him. 177.4.
The timing lights make it 177.6 on the second pass. But twin turbos are even faster. The Lotus clocks 179.4. And that leaves 1, the big V10.
This will be the number of the day.
Brad's right. The Viper runs 192.6 miles per hour. But the winner is also a casualty, blowing its water pump gasket. Yet both the win and the gasket may have the same explanation.
We need a tourniquet here. The performance of Vipers is particularly amazing considering it's got more than 11,000 miles on the odometer. Maybe that's why it's 3 miles an hour faster than the one we had last year. The engine loosened up a little bit.
So the champion goes home on the truck, victorious but wounded, leaving us just 7 incredible cars on Ford's incredible track, and still some time to enjoy the ultimate thrill, running the fastest collection of cars in this country at the speeds they were designed for. Well, I've still got time for a couple more laps, but we have come to the end of this edition of Motor Trend. For all of us here, I'm Jim Scouten. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Next week, the rest of the story as the Motor Trend editors take over the Las Vegas Motor Speedway with $630,000 of high-performance iron, including a replacement Viper, back to defend last year's title. It's a special edition of Motor Trend, on the road and on the track, to bring back this year's ultimate sports car cover story. Those stories next week on Motor Trend.
Welcome to this edition of Motor Trend from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I'm Jim Scouten with C. Van Toon in the Ferrari, plus the entire Motor Trend staff. It's our annual celebration of speed for a cover story. And for enthusiasts, this is as good as it gets. So hang on for the action. It is becoming something of a tradition, running in a tight pack on the Las Vegas Tri-Oval, wheeling more than $600,000 worth of high-performance iron, while photographer Kevin Wing takes another ride strapped on the roof of his van. The shot he snaps will be the opening spread for the cover story, Viva Velocity. We've been working at it for 4 days so far, and I'd like to tell you it's just our job to do this. But Van's more honest about it.
Now, if you had the keys to 8 of the greatest sports cars, unlimited gasoline, access to great racetracks, what would you do? Yeah, you do just what we're doing.
What we've done is roll out of L.A. in an El Nino rain that wouldn't quit, which wasn't really a problem unless you were assigned the Panos Roadster. After I took a 100-mile bath, we're now trying to keep Jeff Bartlett dry with towels and tape and a waterproof suit. And our photogs haven't enjoyed it either. David Freer's getting a shower to get the shot of the late-night gas stop on page 61. This after John Smeltzer let us take over his mobile station.
Nice cars, real nice cars. You don't see that every 15, 20 minutes.
Yes, this rolling party does attract some attention. Fortunately, this time, while parked.
Yeah, this is the only one in the country. This is the only Porsche. The only one? The only one in the building.
It's true, Porsche has flown in the first 911 just for this event. It is very much the Boxster look in front, but definitely shows 911 heritage in the side and rear views. And yes, the rear spoiler rises at 70 to keep the tail down. Underneath is the all-new water-cooled flat 6 with 4 cams and 24 valves making 296 horses. And inside, fine leather with polished aluminum accents. The stick stirs the 6-speed box, the Speedo reads to 175, and it's already been buried in our top speed runs on Ford's 5-mile oval during the second day. And the price? Just under $71,000. Then there's the other new German, the BMW M Roadster, the one with the big 24-valve inline 6 making 240 horses. Watch for the styling cues. This is a hot one in traffic, but it's outgunned by everything else on this trip. Prices tested, $42,770. Not bad for a car that loves to smoke its 40 Series Michelins. Remember, this is just part of the job to get the photo on pages 52 and 53. Of course, if one Roadster will do it, how about the other? The other is the Panos AIV for aluminum-intensive vehicle. It wears an all-aluminum body stretched over the 4-cam Mustang Cobra engine with its 305 horses. 2 tiny doors open on a leather-covered interior with no airbags and not even a power outlet for your radar detector. The Panos stands on 18-inch mags wearing 40 Series Goodrich Comp TAs, and the independent suspension is fully adjustable. The price, $57,000, which seems more reasonable now that the rain has stopped. Or for $63,000 more, you could get a roof from Aston Martin on the new DB7. Under it, you'd get fine Connolly hides, classic gauges, a 5-speed, and out front, a blown 24-valve straight 6, making 335 horses. But the Aston is now more luxury biased than when the first James Bond drove one. It's great high-speed transportation, but not up to mixing it up on the track or the strip with the rest of this crew. Unlike the other British entry, the twin-turbo V8 Lotus Esprit, shaped like a deep purple doorstop with a giant wing in back, the Lotus now packs 350 brutal horses under the hatch with lightning response when the turbos kick in. Inside, it's fine Connolly hides for 2 and only 5 speeds for the manual box, which is the primary reason the Lotus didn't take the top speed title, redlining in 5th at 179 miles per hour. There is a hint of kit car feel to the Lotus with its fiberglass body, but it's almost a bargain in this group at just under $85,000. It will cost you $50,000 more to own the yellow one, the new Ferrari 355 F1, as in Formula One, for the semi-auto 6-speed transmission with the paddle levers behind the wheel. Lift the right one to shift up, the left to shift down, and just like Michael Schumacher, you're doing it faster than if you had a clutch pedal. The motivation comes from under the rear hatch, the 4-cam V8 with 40 valves, helping spin up 375 horses. That's already taken Van to 177 miles per hour on the banking, but he wants to show you how well the chassis works.
Into the banking at almost 180 miles an hour. The G-force is really pushing you squarely down on your seat, yet the Ferrari is really well controlled. You can really take your hands off and they'll pull right around the course. Phenomenal.
More like unbelievable. All right, take a break while we get organized for another photo.
There should probably be someone looking at each engine.
And we'll get on with Las Vegas next.
Power on oversteer is about as much fun as we can have at Motor Trend. At Las Vegas Motor Speedway's road course, there is plenty of it.
Hole 3.
Las Vegas Motor Speedway, 1,500 acres and 24 tracks for every kind of racing you can possibly imagine.
What we've always planned is if it's got wheels and motor oil in it, we'd like to have a track for it.
But it's the lighted 1.5-mile tri-oval with the 4-car groove that makes the NASCAR drivers happy. And the wannabes signing up for the Richard Petty driving experience, just one of many clients using this motor racing wonderland. And then there's us. Against all sane advice, Richie Klein regularly gives us the keys to his mecca of motorsports. Making good on a handshake agreement with Motor Trend's founder.
Pete Peterson's been an old friend. When we decided we were going to build a racetrack, we went to him for advice. At that time, he says, if you build it like this, you'll be the official track of Motor Trend. And we've tried to live up to his expectations.
In turn, it's Van's job to find the story for the cover of the magazine.
Everybody loves the Corvette and the Viper, but just how do they stack up against the world's best performance cars? The names like Ferrari, Porsche, Aston Martin, and Lotus.
So that's what we're doing, getting the results of 10 punishing tests. Top speed, which we've shown you already with the first Viper setting a new record at 192.6 miles per hour, but blowing a gasket in the process. We're now on our second Viper, which is winning 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. Followed by the Lotus in 4.4. Then it's the lightweight Panos at 4.6 seconds. Tying the Ferrari at 4.6. With the Corvette next at 4.8. The quarter mile changes the order slightly when the Panos runs out of gears before the finish. But it's Viper again in 12.2 at 115 miles per hour, followed by the Lotus, the Ferrari, and the Corvette. In the standing mile, once again, it's no contest. The big V10 powers to 173 miles per hour in a tick over 30 seconds. Nothing else comes close. But it's the Las Vegas Motor Speedway infield road course that tells the most about sports cars. With senior road test editor, Mac Demir, setting up the challenge and then running against the clock in each car to rank the performance. On this course, the replacement Viper does not repeat last year's win, finishing behind the Ferrari by a tenth of a second. And it's on the road course where the new 911 comes into its own, finishing just 4/10 of a second behind the Viper. Then it's the Corvette and the twice as expensive Lotus completing the circuit in a dead heat. Followed by the Panos, the BMW Roadster, and the Aston Martin. You'll find all the details in the May edition. If you're only buying one magazine this year, this is the one to collect and pass down to your kids to help remember the golden age of performance cars. A question those of us doing this job will never forget.
These tests that goes down in your mind is not just one of the great stories of the year, but this is a memory for all lifetimes. Viper, Vette, Ferrari, Porsche, Lotus, Aston Martin, how much better does it get?